Incoming transmission. The Stank Space podcast contains vulgar language and mature topics. So if you're a kid, turn your ears off. And make sure your elderly Christian grandmother is not listening. End of transmission.
Do you want me to do the intro?
The Stank Space podcast. I don't sound as good as everybody else because I'm in a different spot because sometimes
She's being shunned.
Small rooms happen. So here's them.
No, see, at the end of the day, what it was is you said a bad word and now you're in the corner.
Jillian, we don't believe in potty language.
Yeah. How dare you? Oh, hey, welcome, Blake. What's up, my man?
Jillian, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, welcome to Stank Space. We're back after 5 weeks of no videos due to severe depression.
I just want to be a fanboy for a second and say you guys got to stay the course because when I'm traveling, when I'm doing whatever, I watch and listen. So I definitely need you guys to continue to make Stank Space. Because when you on hiatus, I got to fucking rewatch fucking Ethan Klein and his mother now because fucking Trisha Paytas got kicked off in front of me.
But I love families.
Listen, Families is good, but there was a dramatic fucking give and take with Ethan and Trisha that I just live for. And I think anybody that watched this show would agree. I watched T-channels, as fucked up as it sounds.
Oh, no, that's the best.
Gosh,
Listen, when James Charles and
I like hot tea.
all the makeup gurus were hating each other, I was so into it. I didn't understand shit they were talking about, but it was funny as fuck to watch.
We did an episode on that in season 1.
James Charles is just a well of memes, a well that never runs dry.
He is definitely a character. He's made himself a character of himself at this point, I think.
Yeah, he's really going into the pedophile role hard, though. Like, it's a big case study.
That's what you don't want to do what James Charles did.
Yeah. I think recently he tweeted that he was watching a Minecraft YouTuber, and that guy's like 16. So the internet was like,
this cat doing?
"Hey man,
what are you doing?
What are you doing?"
We might have to exile him.
Yeah.
Get Gillian back on the fucking island. Fuck that guy.
He is
a potty mouth ain't shit compared to fucking predatory behavior.
Yeah, that's it, right? It's like he's done creepy shit, but like he hasn't like done anything bad. Like he hasn't f***ed a kid or whatever, R-worded a kid. I don't know.
Yeah, but we have to be careful.
But he's like Snapchatted them, right?
What?
That's his thing. He Snapchatted underage guys.
Yeah.
I have to think that some of them might be fake though, because
probably
there's so many and like.
Well, that's what comes with TikTok and clout, right? You're gonna do fake weird shit. But there were definitely some that are proven true because they screenshotted his pictures that he sent them.
I mean,
he do got an ass. I will say this. James has got the giant peach.
Yeah, but you know that. But you do know that. I mean, that ass is probably fake.
Is it? I would be disappointed.
Yeah, dude, there is no way that homeboy's got dumps like that off the rip. Look at the rest of that dude's body and then look at his dumps.
Maybe he
don't have a truck
squats
like that, bro. He don't have a stance like that in his hips. There ain't no way. Not to be gay. No
you
homo.
said his hips aren't right for that much ass, dog.
Those hips do not lie.
Yeah. We'll do that's going to be a deep dive. We're going to have to figure out if James Charles got booty implants.
It's like the Kylie lip injections thing.
Yeah.
I would bet you a clam chowder business dinner that he has a fake ass. I've been trying to get Nick for weeks now to go on a business dinner with me at my favorite restaurant in Hill.
Strictly because I'm scared of clams. Because I thought they were like oysters. Because oysters terrify me, and they have
clams
a shell.
Are cooked.
So I assume
oysters you get fresh on the shell.
Yeah, clams have the big dick tongues, right? That like come out of their shell, and they're all like.
See, I'm not educated enough to know that. I just know they taste good, and I can promise you that if you can eat calamari and you can eat salmon, you can fucking eat
a clam.
A clam.
Okay. I'll try it. Your clam dinner might go to waste, but I'll be there for the business meeting.
I'll just get you a bowl, and we'll get you shrimp on the side. We're going to go have a business dinner, dude.
Yeah.
I got to talk to you.
Yeah.
You're going to be in my next video. I need a girlfriend. I'm a little straight cis boy over here. Come on.
Oh my gosh.
You're a straight white cis male?
Absolutely.
Are you even allowed to be on the internet?
I think you guys are going to get canceled.
Shit.
No, but for real, no. I'm my privilege is somewhat in check. I'd like to think so.
Yeah, no, you're not a gross person.
Yeah. I know that white people suck. We definitely suck.
We do suck at a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Stealing people's ideas.
Dude,
Yeah.
they
We're
changed,
pretty good at that.
They did the Indians thing. They changed it from the Indians to the Guardians.
Yes, national
People have
news.
been getting so pissed off.
I don't really see what the problem is. I mean,
There-
it's a
right,
fucking
there's
baseball
no
team.
issue.
I
got
think the majority I've seen is
For
people don't like
progress.
the logo.
Dude, that's so like hot
That
take. If you
logo's
don't,
so cool.
I agree.
I
I
think
love
it's
the
nice.
logo, but I love old Art Deco shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's an argument to say like, okay, it's cool they changed the name of the Guardians, whatever, but I don't like
It's
the logo.
because of the
But to
statues
say,
on that
like-
bridge, right?
Yeah. Based off of that, and dude, it looks good. It's like 30s deco-y.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it's a good vibe.
That I literally people are like posting about it. Like, we named this to honor the first Indian that was
Yeah, the picture from
yeah,
100
it's like,
years
okay,
ago.
great. And then I keep sharing the same article that I will post right here of like.
I've never heard
people being
anyone-
like it's offensive because it's a character of us. That's not
Yeah.
cool.
That's what I was going to say. The Indians logo is probably the most offensive thing about their shtick because it was like
It was
a red-faced
a
war
red face
chief.
and fucking in a headdress.
Yeah.
I mean, for fuck's sakes.
But
I don't see. I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't see how people don't find that offensive.
Yeah.
Like, I can't believe it took them this long to change it. It's like the Washington Redskins. Both of those names are pretty offensive.
because when you compare it, like, you're not going to call your team like Black Skins or Yellow Skins.
I don't even think that I would call an Indian. I mean, I would not go up to a Native American and be like, "Yo, so you're an Indian?" You know what I mean? Like,
yo,
that's-
what up, Redskin?
What's up,
Yeah,
Indian?
you're not gonna.
No, like that's fucking weird.
That'd
That's
be
very
bad, yeah.
disrespectful. It's very disrespectful.
It's-
I went to an Indian reservation in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I hiked down to it. It was awesome in Supai, Arizona. Shout
Fuck
out.
yeah.
And the Indian people were like a little bit standoffish at first because I'm sure people that come and visit are very rude. But once I like spoke to a couple of them, they were very nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I shouldn't even say Indian. That was incorrect of me to say Native American. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Because their families started down there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's their fucking land. It's fucked up that we did with them like that. Yet we claim this allegiance to like property ownership and equity. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm the first person to say I want to own my own house because there's real like value in that. You know what I mean? But to say that we didn't take someone else's land when we value that so heavily and see how it couldn't be hurtful, that's fucked up. That's dangerous.
I agree. My stepdad was Native American, Creek Indian. So,
Move my leg
like,
a little
I get it, and I agree with the argument, like, that what white people did a long time ago was fucked up.
Yeah.
But I think the argument behind the Indians thing, the only thing I could see that it was racist was Chief Wahoo himself. But I will say,
Yeah, I mean,
I've never heard anyone
that's a
but
fair
white
argument.
people say that it was
Right,
offensive.
no,
I've
for
never heard
sure.
anyone Native American say they don't like it. But maybe just
Well,
because
I mean, I don't know though, because I think if you go online, and I know that the internet's a
I'm
dangerous
sure there are
place,
Native
but there are
Americans
Native
that-
American people that have spoken out that said that caricature and the trivialization of. I mean, like again, think about it. On my earlier like tangent, we took their fucking land.
yeah.
Like, we took their grandparents' land, said it was ours, and then built shit on it that desecrated what they didn't want us to desecrate. I'd probably be a little bitter, too. I'm a bitter motherfucker. Nick, you know I can be bitter. We've had conversations. My bitterness can show sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not one of my better traits. But to say that they
I
don't
think you're
owe...
perfect.
Fuck off. But to say that they don't deserve to like at least say their piece, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And to say that we can't do better if it does offend some
That's
of them
what
is
I think-
also fucked up.
That's what I think the argument should be, because people are like, why are we letting the liberal left
Can't we just do
dictate
better?
things for the majority?
That's the thing. Can't we just do better?
And that's what I want to say. It's like, why does it have to be the liberal left? Like, if you're a normal person, you can understand that maybe not
a
having-
rational person.
Yeah, maybe not having this name or this image is the best we can do. So why not change it to something else? The Guardians are cool. I dig it.
Yeah.
They were able to keep like the same fonts
I want them
of the
to
Indians.
I want them to get the Guardians of the Galaxy opening night and to do a crazy laser show. That would be the ultimate play.
I have heard though there's some legal issues with the name. While we're on it, apparently there's a men's roller derby team
I heard
for
they bought
Cleveland
it.
called the Guardians. So there might be like some issues ahead of time. But you would think a franchise as big as the Cleveland Indians would like look into.
I heard they're legal vetted
their
it
new
and they
name.
bought it. But I could be wrong. Again,
I'd hope
the internet
so.
is a wild west.
Why are we watching baseball? We should be watching men's roller derby. That's the thing.
I'm compelled to watch roller derby on YouTube when this podcast is over.
Absolutely. The only sporting event I've fallen asleep to is baseball.
Oh,
That's all
dude,
I'm
I
gonna say.
agree. If we're gonna, you want a hot take on baseball? Baseball is boring as fuck.
Tom Hanks was in a movie about it, Blake. How dare you?
It's very boring.
Disagree, but I also play baseball, so like I know what's going on.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Jillian can throw a
I-
softball 900 miles per hour. She's
Oh,
so
listen,
crazy
and
strong.
I'm not saying there's not athletic ability. Like respect, you need athletic ability to do that. I could not do any of that. I can't even fucking
Blake
hit a
runs.
ball. I can't hit a ball.
Blake's sport is he runs for a long time.
Yeah, I'm so
I hate that.
uninclined to be like I don't have any ability, so all I can do is put shoes on and run.
Yo, I saw your stats. 12 and a half minutes a mile ain't bad, bro.
Dude, that's my trail time. That would be I would want to kill myself. No, that's fucked up to say. I would not be happy if I didn't run under a 10.
Well, that's the goal.
My average right now is like 7.5. I'm running real good.
So, that's like the combined. So the time I was seeing on your stats was like the overall.
That was my trail run. When you run in the woods,
Yeah.
it's different. Like so, when I run on the pavement, my time is like 7.5. When I run in the woods, my time is like 12.5 because you gotta
Damn,
like.
that's a huge change.
Yeah. Well, there's like
So you're like dodging animals and jumping trees and shit.
jumping down trees and elevation change,
Doing
and crossing
parkour.
rivers. Crossing river is the hardest part because you got to go super slow. You don't want to fall.
You run
Avoiding
through the
non-deer?
river.
Yeah, avoiding.
You know, there's
non-deer.
bridges and shit, right, Blake?
When you do trail running, you have to make some water
There are
crossings
no
sometimes.
bridges in trail running.
There are some, but not many.
It's like extreme shit, man. You're like Cameron Haynes out there.
No, I wouldn't give myself that much credit.
You're just like running 100 miles. Your feet are falling off. You gotta go through the water slow, or you'll drown and die. This shit is real out here, bro.
No. I have to go slow just because I don't want to fall. I've fucked my shit up in the
Oh,
water.
what's
before.
your worst trail running fall?
My worst fall? I don't have a good trail run example recently, but recently I fell down my stairs in like a wet. I had like Crocs that were done. There was no tread. I came out of my back door and slipped. And this was my
Croc-related
karma
injury.
for saying the earlier suicide comment because that was off color. I apologize. But I fell and just smacked my back, and I couldn't walk for 2 days. And I literally took Tylenol.
I bet you
and
wanted
stayed
to
at my-
kill yourself.
Oh, I
then,
did.
right?
You're damn right. No, but that's not right to trivialize. I have a very offensive.
No, it's cool.
sense
My
of
dad
humor.
hung himself, so I'm 100% cool with it. Like,
I still like.
if people
I
want to get
shouldn't say
butthurt
things
over
like that. That was
suicide,
wrong.
it's like, sorry, shit
I'll
happens.
just have to put a fucking trigger warning.
Suicide, trigger warning, suicide.
Listen, I don't.
Every episode.
I would never. If somebody, I don't think it's right. People deal with things differently, and there's plenty of statistics to show that people do when things get desperate enough, they do end their lives.
Yeah.
That's very unfortunate. And if anybody watching this is feeling some type of way, you
Plug
should reach
it.
out to a friend.
Yeah.
No,
Call that number from the Logic song.
Call Jillian. Will put it down here.
Yeah.
We'll
Thanks,
plug
Jill.
the 1-800 suicide awareness hotline or whatever.
Don't kill yourself.
Don't, because
You're
life
so
is
pretty,
pretty
you know?
great. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'll give you a real selfish reason, because listen, people that are actively considering killing themselves are gonna make a really selfish decision. So here's an even more selfish decision. You really don't know what's gonna happen on the other side. You really want to die and fucking risk it? Just stay alive and play the game.
Yeah.
Everybody else is.
If you kill yourself, it could just be like
You're
endless
throwing the
darkness.
dice. What if it's blackout and you never get another shot?
There is no promise of heaven or hell. Only the unknown.
I've been waiting for like a Jehovah's Witness to come to my house because I dead face want to tell them like, oh, I believe in a God. I believe in our Lord and Christ, Lucifer.
Cthulhu?
No, because I'm going to tell them I'm a Satanist and
Oh.
just look them dead face
Yeah,
and
yeah.
tell them that I like practice
Invite
black
them to
magic
your
occult.
church. Yeah.
I'm not. I really don't though. Like I was raised a Christian. I don't believe in anything, but I'm gonna tell them that because I don't really find any.
What is that?
I don't really care.
Is that agnostic, where you were raised a Christian but don't necessarily believe in it? Or
I think that'd probably be safe to say because I do believe in a higher power. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, these motherfuckers saying that a book that was wrote 2,000 years ago is a hot take of the fucking whatever made us.
when I learned that the King James Bible has been in the past rewritten by Buddhist monks,
I mean,
I was like, okay.
All I know is I don't
No.
I don't know anything to that effect, but I think that it's fair to say that anything that's been even translated by people is gonna pick up their bias.
Yeah.
So even if that like is God's holy word and fucking whatever the fuck King James transferred it from the Dead Sea Scrolls or wherever it came from, I mean, you're still gonna get King James hot take, you know what I mean? Just like you get my hot take if I read that shit, which I probably wouldn't include all the hateful shit because it sounds a little very cultural, if I'm being honest.
Well, let's be honest too. The church's track record, especially right now with mass graves, isn't the best.
I don't even know. It's good. I'll tell you what. In 20 years, we're killing religion, like people our age, because like the way that we've been phasing in and the older generations have been dying off, unfortunately.
It's a lot of spiritualism now.
Yeah, it's much more spiritually related. I don't want to go to a fucking church that's going to tell me I got to give them 10% of my money and then listen to them about how bad of a person I am. Yeah. I know I'm a bad person.
Yeah, we're not Irish Catholic.
My grandmother's Italian Catholic.
In my opinion, religion was made to control the people.
Oh,
well, here's the thing.
Especially Christianity and Catholic, like all that.
Oh,
to control everybody.
Yeah, I mean,
the Bible has a lot of good steps to help if you view it from the point of ancient civilizations or these civilizations that were
I think
at
that
time.
if you want to
it's
take
good instructions for life.
Right. No.
Just in
I mean,
general.
if you want to take your kids to Sunday school and tell them that they heard a story about why they shouldn't steal, that's helpful. Yeah. But I mean, there's nothing wrong with letting culture pass on because I think that might be important too. But I also think it might be important just like from the get-go to tell your children like, yo, this is some wild shit, and some of these people are gonna make you think this shit is like the gospel. No pun intended, but it ain't.
Yeah.
Just go and listen and take it like a fairy tale. Like you could watch Disney shit and be a good person too. They teach you good shit on that shit.
Well, Disney can't get you into heaven, Blake. That'd be the argument. Only Jesus can. Only accepting him as your one true savior.
We don't even. Okay, listen. Let's have a thought experiment. Jesus created every fucking thing, and then this guy that has a plan for everything, created everything, is gonna give some little kid cancer. Yeah. Like you really want to believe that? But you know what? I don't believe. I refuse to believe that. Even if it's true, I reject it at the penalty of going to hell.
Well, that's because we all live with sin, Blake. Cancer in babies happens because we're all sinful. But you know what else we're gonna do? We're gonna run into this ad.
Born without a face, and that's God's plan. Let's go to an ad, and when we come back,
we're gonna talk about.
I have the documents.
Lazar.
We want to talk about Bob Lazar and the truth.
Hello and welcome to Ad Time. We are talking about tarot with Tori. She's at Willow Creek Curious Monday, Wednesday, Friday. She sometimes does different hours, so I suggest you go to her Facebook page, which is on the screen. But if you don't see it on the screen, it is at Tarot with Tori. And her Instagram as well. She's starting up. She's doing some very informative videos. And her Instagram is celestial.cement. All right. And I'll have those on the screen. But I'll also try to put it in the description. But I might forget. Sorry. All right, let's get back into it. Who's Bob Lazar? Let's figure it out.
Jillian needs filled in a little bit. We're going to be talking today about a science guy in the UFO community named Bob Lazar, or Bob Lazar, Lazar, however you want to say it. It's Lazar for real, but I call him Bob Lazar. He claims to have worked at a place near Area 51, not Area 51, but near
the gas station near Area 51.
That's more accurate than what
I think he said it was 15 miles south of Area 51.
He claims to have been on the base on Area 51, but I mean, in like the compound, I guess, like the land they have sectioned off for it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't on like what we know Area 51 is, like Groom Lake from like Google Maps. You know what I mean? Like he's saying this place was in the side of a mountain. They called it S4, I believe.
Yes, S4.
And
Apparently
go ahead.
he worked on UFOs that we had already in our possession, and his job was to figure out how I think his main job, or the one he's famous for, is he had to figure out how the thrusters worked, like how it moved and stuff, because that was his expertise, was like propulsion thrust mechanic shit. So what happened is he ends up getting famous because he's like...
He comes out in the 80s.
Yeah, go ahead.
And says... So we're giving her backstory, basically.
Yeah.
All right, so this guy comes out in the 80s. He comes out on a Las Vegas news report, and he says, I worked at Area 51.
For the
Las
gang.
Vegas is arguably the closest city to Area 51.
Yeah.
They have those weird Janet flights that I swear I've seen before fly out of McCarran, Las Vegas International, to Area 51 a couple times a day. And he... What?
Creepy.
You're right, it is creepy. No, but so he claims that he was in on that, and he like was a part of that. Not to get into my weeds, but he came out and he claimed that he worked there, that he not only worked there, but he saw some wild things.
Alien things.
Yeah, alien things. And he even stole some of the aliens' fuel. But he came out and said he worked on the flying saucer's propulsion, and that he saw people die working on other parts of the craft
Due to radiation.
They had multiple crafts in this bunker in the mountain S4, and it was a really sensational story, to be honest. I mean, if you look at it at face value and you buy into the fact that the government has things we don't know, which anybody with half a brain would say that's probably accurate.
Yeah.
But I mean, to the level that he makes it sound coordinated, I yet to be seen. I mean, I don't give our government that much credit.
Yeah.
But at any rate, so he came out. He's been shopping this theory around that this account around that he worked there, and then there's been some corroboration by another key member. There's a couple key members in the saga that when he came out, kind of like how he got his credibility. George Knapp is the name of the reporter that brought him on the scene. George Knapp is was one of the main reporters at Las Vegas. I don't know what channel. I have the information here, but I'm not going to go through it all the way to that point. But he worked at that news station. Before he interviewed Bob Lazar, he had I gotta look at my documents, but John Lear. He interviewed John Lear, which also was a sensational account from Area 51. But his was proven to be largely credible just because I think it was the stealth flight program he worked on, or something to that effect. And he came out and just said different aspects that weren't publicly reported. And he was at Area 51 a little bit with that aircraft. And he had just said that there was more that he didn't see, and everything was highly compartmentalized, which you would probably argue at our most secret military base. That's the way it would be. Yeah. But regardless, so I mean, the whole thing is like they're testing advanced aircraft and shit, and this guy comes out. If you do a little bit of digging, it's really interesting though, because like Bob Lazar, Lear, and Knapp, they all actually met at like a fireworks convention that Bob Lazar put on in the desert.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And like to give some backstory to Bob Lazar. So like Bob Lazar, when he came out with these claims, he also claimed that like he had these physics degrees and these advanced degrees from Caltech and MIT. Yeah. And there's a very famous UFOologist, Stanton Friedman, that's proven a lot of other things in the field. He came out and has like really equated, and I have a YouTube channel. I've done other vlogs, but I'm gonna be dabbling in my first documentary on refuting Bob Lazar's claims. Yeah, and it'll have actual footage of like these guys speaking, because these guys put their feet in their mouth very often as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about Bob and why people credit him, because over the 30 plus years he's told the story, it's stayed the same. And usually when you're lying for that
No,
long,
I mean that's true, but he's also had the same two people in the room in the story, and they're the same two people that gained a ton monetarily and credibility wise from his story being broadcast to the highest ends of the earth.
Yeah, he made a lot of money off of it.
Yeah, no, I mean just the exposure and getting paid on the news. I mean, so if you dig into like his past, he was like, if you. Anyway, not to go off my point too far, but Stanton Friedman, he kind of disproved through rationale experiments and through different research that you can't hide your degrees from Caltech or MIT. And Bob Lazar was claiming that even though he went to these places, that they deleted his records because he was working on such top secret information. Which again, I don't give our government that much credit.
Yeah.
But I mean, these are places that have very active student bodies. They have very active like student newspapers, things like that. Bob Lazar would have at least been published at minimum in his graduating class.
Yeah.
There's no yearbooks. There's no newspapers. I mean, these classes had however many thousands of students in them, plus the newspaper. I mean, in the college itself, there's just no way you could go back and get rid of all that information and not have something slip through the cracks. They've proven that even like our atomic energy scientists that have made our most advanced weaponry, you can go back and find them. You know what I mean? You can go back and find CIA agents that now are deep cover somewhere in the Middle East or Africa or Russia. Yeah. If you go back far enough, you can find someone's records. That's just the way it is. It's really hard to actually erase someone. Someone has to stay off the grid the whole time.
And if they're going to do it, why would it be one random scientist?
Right. When there's been, like, I mean, he claimed these people that worked with him were getting killed because they were even thinking about talking, and then he comes out on the biggest news network in Las Vegas, the biggest city next to Area 51, and they're not going to come kill him. That doesn't make sense either.
Well, it's been proven too through like people talking about it and like witness that he used to take people out to Area 51.
He used to take them out to like the edge of it in the mountains and show them like different test flights. But I mean, again, he might have got that information from Lear because they might run similar test flights different times of the night. It might be like a little open secret.
And that's usually what the facility is for, according to what people have said.
Yeah, and our like the unofficial official account of our government is like it's an advanced aircraft facility where we test weapons and aircraft. It's right next to the bombing range, Nellis Bombing Range, Nellis Air Force Base.
Yeah.
So it's well positioned in the middle of the Nevada desert, no one's around, where we can blow shit up and test things.
So my biggest theory on why I think this Bob Lazar guy could be right.
Okay, tell me.
You know the videos that have been leaked by our government showing these aircraft that dip in and out of the water and move and look certain way?
Yeah, but he
talked about UFOs, or I guess they're called like AAV, advanced aerial vehicles.
But if we already know what it is, why is the government coming out now and saying, hey, we literally don't know what this is, so we're going to tell you because we can't hide it?
But how would he... It's got to be very lucky that he would guess and be able to draw exactly what these things look like if he didn't really know about them.
What his account is versus what those pilots have seen and what the aircraft footage is shown, because there's, if you don't know, Jillian, there's like some... Department of Defense footage of like these U.S. Air Force pilots flying over like by aircraft.
Looks like a beam.
Exercises, and they have like a little tic tac thing that just, comes in and goes out of nowhere. It's pretty trivial.
Bob Lazar described those perfectly, and the way they move.
We didn't even get a good look. I mean, again, not to be too much of a cynic, because I don't necessarily believe that it's like of this world. I think it's equal parts either of this world, or I also think we're grossly underestimating China. They are so due to beat us, it's insane. It might be
the Chinese got UFOs, dog?
I think the Chinese have weapons we don't know about, and I think the Chinese are back on the moon, and we don't. This is something you want to hear my hot conspiracies?
Are you?
If you want to hear conspiracies that I believe, the Chinese are on the moon. Bro? They're probably already almost to Mars, and they are light years ahead of us. Even if they don't have UFOs, which it could be them or it could be UFOs. Really, in my opinion, in my head, it's a 50-50 shot, which is a hell of a lot better than like 70-30 what it used to be before that shit came out.
Yeah, but if they're light years ahead of us, then why did COVID happen?
To what degree they're light years ahead of us. I mean, maybe they have propulsion. I mean, okay, whatever. But
Illuminati, man.
If we want to get deep in the weeds, fair enough. But no, to get back to Bob Lazar, just to say, when he was claiming to work at S4,
Yeah.
he also, like, right before then had gotten busted owning a brothel with, like, one of his wives. And
That's
then
hot.
He's been married 3 times. 2 of his 3 wives have died under mysterious circumstances.
Mysterious circumstances.
He claims in these documentaries he's been raided by the FBI. Yeah, he has. He's one of the only companies in the U.S. that sells the chemical or whatever it actually is. I guess you would say it's an element. Polonium, which is a highly specific poison that's radioactive by nature. He's the only company in the U.S. that sells it. And it just so
Why
happens...
would he be the only...
I don't know, but to think about
That's
how his
spooky.
wives died from very specific, cryptic, chemical almost occurrences...
He
it makes-
poisoned them,
I would
dude?
say that I truthfully
This is
believe
the
that
new Tiger King.
Bob Lazar totally poisoned. And in my video, one of the things
You're
that
gonna
will
go about?
one of my go-abouts is that it's going to be shown, like, through just some other people's reporting and what have you, in splicing on my end, that, I mean, his other wives both died, and he's one of the only guys in the country that has
Access to
and you can't say
this
he's
poison.
not smart. I mean, to say he's not smart, he built a jet car in his Honda. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah,
We
he
were
turned his
talking about-
Honda into a jet car when he
That's
was like
wild.
18.
Gang. I mean, props.
Fuck yeah.
His company, he has a lot of very specialized aerospace things he sells out of his company. None of it's too remarkable to
And
the point.
poison.
Well, and poison, yeah. Well, but he claims it as far as like a test chemical type of thing, and I'm sure there's capacities for that. And they're in the United States.
tested it on his wives.
We should. I mean, I wouldn't say polonium because that's traceable. But if this cat is synthesizing polonium, I can only imagine what
He could
he's
do other
got.
shit.
Yeah, oh yeah, dude. That's got to be what. I mean, he's got a technical mind. So to say that he doesn't have like some wild chemicals, that might be more accurate than to say he worked at fucking Area 51 while he was running a prostitution ring.
Yeah,
and
that's
also
the real story.
He was a photo clerk guy, like Psy in 1 Hour Photo.
A photo clerk guy.
He was.
That's fantastic.
And it comes. I mean, so when he comes out in the '80s, he's got a badge working at this place. He later admits that badge is something
he
doctored
faked
up.
stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's
documents.
admitted to have. There's in my video that I'll be putting out, I will have actual video footage of their inconsistencies of their stories, because even though I know that there is a lot of the story that's been told the same, if you really dig in the details, which always the devil's in the details, you can see that there's inconsistencies, and when they're questioned about them, they visibly break immediately. And they're like, Jeremy Corbell, the guy that did Bob Lazar's most recent documentary,
Yeah.
he's quoted against Stanton Friedman saying, I got to find the quote, but I mean, literally, like, you've never lied to get a girl before. It was just different things about, like, how Stanton said there was things that Bob had lied about, and,
Yeah.
and Corbell had kind of, like, invalidated his thoughts by saying, like, you've never lied before. I mean, and it's like, well, when we're
Implying
talking
that he's lied.
right, and it's like, if we're talking about things where we want the absolute remembrance fact, you better not be lying. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's where it's just like there's too many inconsistencies in that regard. I mean, to give you some fast facts. Okay. I was not as organized as I nearly look.
I will say Joe Rogan had Bob Lazar and that guy who did his documentary on his podcast. He had Bob on twice and told his story and stuff. And then he also had a director of security or something with the government, some high-end dude who used to work for the government. And he came on and pretty much refuted a lot of the stuff Bob Lazar was saying.
Right.
So, but the confusing thing about all of it is that he has talked about stuff, and it's kind of like Alex Jones with the frogs are gay. It was a meme, he said it, people didn't believe it, and then it actually happened because he was right about it. So just because the dude is a kook or a liar, how does he have information on stuff that was proven to be real?
Well, I mean, my thing is, like, you got Bob
Is it because he
Lazar-
knew people that were actually doing it?
No, listen. So here's a couple things. Like, you have these guys that say they have footage of, like, when Bob Lazar went into Los Alamos. That's another place that they have, like, physical proof.
Yeah.
They have a phone book that shows Bob Lazar's name as him working for a contractor there. It's been argued that it was probably under a maintenance effect, just because what Bob was doing at the time. He owned a photo processing company, but I mean, so the George Knapp. He says that he goes to Los Alamos with Bob with a camera. That footage has never been released. The only other person that corroborates they've seen it is Jeremy Corbell, the guy that made the documentary. It's really easy for three guys to say that they've
put
seen
any
something.
of it in his documentary.
No, none of it's in there. There's nothing that's never been released. Put that out.
Yeah, if you have positive
Any
evidence,
proof you can
just
have.
show
I mean,
it.
listen, they get the phone book name where it just vaguely mentions him 1 year in an employee phone book, often like the auxiliary page, not even in the main employee phone book. And then, you have these guy that says you have them put that out, but you won't have them put out that they're in Los Alamos. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you put that footage out? It's very compelling.
Yeah.
My brain works in short spots.
I hear you. I get it. It makes sense if you have. It's like that Element 115. He claims to have it, even though the science says it's real. It wouldn't survive for as long as he's saying he had it.
From my understanding, physicists, educated, accredited scientists that have witnessed this element in ways we've created it, it doesn't last long enough in our environment, atmosphere, or whatever, for it to occur in any sustainable manner. So there's no way for him to keep it sustainably and to
For
have
over
this,
30 years.
right? And to have it just in his garage or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? And we don't really understand the full. I mean, why wouldn't you release that if you have it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
show a picture.
Right.
Go to Facebook.
Right. No, but to give you a little
Tweet
bit of a
that shit.
timeline, this is so the timeline that I have kind of worked up is like from 1982 to 1985, he owned a photo processing business with his wife. This is when he met Gene Huff, which is one of the players in the story.
Yeah.
In 1985, Carol, I believe his girlfriend at the time, either his girlfriend or his wife, moves to Las Vegas and buys a house while Bob still lives in Los Alamos. His second wife was initially a photo tech while Bob moved away. So Carol was Bob's third wife. That was, I think, his girlfriend at the time.
Bob fucks, dude.
Oh, yeah, Bob fucks. Listen, Bob ran a brothel.
Bob fucks, dude.
For sure. So it's
Yeah.
like, he definitely, like, does that take away or does it add?
Do you think he
credibility?
uses the alien shit to get
No. My hot take on Bob Lazar is
I
like
would.
any information that he had was because he was probably like the guy giving these guys at Area 51 their blowies. Like, yo, I had a hard day at the base. Can you send me a
He
couple
was
girls?
working at the
or can I
brothel.
come down to the brothel and get a room? Oh yeah, come down to the bar. I'll talk to you. You
Yeah.
want a couple drinks on the house? Oh yeah, that fucking shift at Area 51. They had me building that fucking stealth plane. I want to blow up my. I almost made another suicide joke.
They got me
That was
working on
fucked up.
UFOs, bro.
Right? No. But
Like
so-
just angrily venting about your job doing alien shit.
No, dude, but so it gets more interesting though. So his girlfriend moves to Las Vegas and buys a house while Bob's still living in Los Alamos.
Okay.
Bob's second wife ran that photo processing business with him. In 1986, his second wife dies in mysterious circumstances. His first wife died as well in mysterious circumstances.
He just out here
After
killing
that,
hoes.
within a week of his second wife's death, he moves to Las Vegas to live with Carol, his current wife.
third wife.
His current wife, yeah. Before his wife's death, while still married, Bob got married to his third wife in Las Vegas. So he had a marriage to
He had it all
Carol
planned out.
in Las Vegas way before. Yeah. That's why I'm saying, like, there's a whole web of, like, he
I'm
definitely
excited
murdered
for
his
this
wives.
this doc you're making.
So,
dude.
1987, Bob files for bankruptcy. 1988, Desert Blast, Bob's fireworks expo in the Las Vegas desert opens to the
Desert
public.
Blast sounds like
That's
a good name
also
for
when
a
he meets John Lear.
hooker in the desert.
Bob.
Showgirl, working girl. I don't know.
Okay, so one of the notes that I have about Bob's second wife, Tracy, was they seem to be scam artists. They changed their names several times. They tried to buy several houses, and then they would lose them because they wouldn't pay the mortgages.
So he knows how to run that
They
story.
would get married again under different names and have
Same.
other. So
It's a lot of tax money back, you know.
from December of 1988 to March of 1989, that's when Bob claims to have worked at S4.
Yeah.
In between murdering his wife and running a prostitution ring and a photo processing center in Los Alamos.
He also worked for Area 51 on spaceships that were killing everyone else, but not him.
Right. So, but Bob in 1989,
Bob.
Bob starts an interview with George Knapp and takes people to the test area to show them the UFOs.
I would be friends with Bob, dude. I hate to admit it, but I'd kick it with that guy.
The FBI has raided Bob several times. One of the most recent or one of the most interesting was a Thalman poisoning, another one of the chemicals that he synthesized that's highly untraceable and highly specific.
He synthesized that shit, dude. He made his own poison, dog.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. That's funny, though, because statistically, women usually murder through poison.
Yeah, I was wondering if you think he wore one of those, like, my husband was murdered mysteriously, flowy gowns with the fuzzies at the end.
And stood on the porch with a glass of wine while the wind kind of blows it a little bit? Yeah, he did. Yeah. No, absolutely, yeah. When we have him on, we'll ask specifically, but I guarantee you he did.
And
he'll lie about it.
On the Bob Lazar documentary, they show a raid by the FBI.
Yeah.
That raid was planned before they knew that raid was coming. The FBI was coordinating with them.
So they were
and
like,
again,
come
it was
film.
about Bob making a chemical in regards to a murder. And the only reason we know that is because the employees at United Nuclear, Bob's company, went on Reddit and said that the FBI was coming and questioning them in regards to a murder case about some shit that they made. So it's just interesting, you know what I mean? I'm trying to see what else. Yeah, no, they staged all the texting scenes in Bob Lazar documentary. I found that out after the fact. The only fact checker that we know of for
Was
any
Bob
of this stuff
Lazar?
is either Bob Lazar or George Knapp.
Can you imagine being the fact checker on your own documentary, dude? That's hard.
So John Lear, again, he broke the spy plane case.
Yeah.
Terry Avenatti is the name of the polygraph tester that gave Bob 4 polygraphs. 3 of them were good. 1 of them was bad. So I know, compelling. I'm not going
But polygraphs
I have to
aren't
mention
usable in most court
No.
scenarios. Now, right?
I mean, and truthfully, I find Bob to be like, because
He's good at it.
Yeah, like he looks at you and he's like looking you dead in the face, telling you what's happening. Like, this is what happened. So you even more want to believe him. That's like pathological
He's
in my
good at
opinion.
lying.
So I think that he like has himself believed.
And
like,
hey,
I
he's a
worked
serial
there. You know what
killer.
I mean?
If he's a serial killer, he probably is really fucking good at lying. Like that.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
look at all
Dude,
the
you're
serial
right about his
killers-
wife. You're right. That's an interesting. Oh yeah, dude. Yo, hot take.
Yo, we're about to crack this bitch
I know.
open.
Dude, you might have to help me with the doc.
I would love to. I'll just talk to people on the street on camera. Do you know about Bob?
The moral of the story is like, so like the other inconsistencies in regards to him is like he claims that he had majestic clearance, but later in the day later in the years, he's claimed that it was Q clearance.
Yeah.
So it's like he knew that.
2 very different names.
Yeah, and like majestic was like what all the UFOologists were saying was like the name of the like the shit at the time in the 80s.
That's so dumb.
So like I feel like he was just rolls with the times, and like
So many
now
cool
the Q
names.
clearance is hot because that's what like that's what people say. Like
QAnon?
QAnon. The dude has a Q clearance.
I have
That's
Q
like
clearance.
but no.
For 4chan. My 4chan score is so high.
With him working at MIT, the Office of Legal Counsel says there's no way that any graduate, the government's never been able to wipe out graduation records. It's not feasible for them to go back and retrieve diplomas, records of attending the graduation, yearbook.
There's no evidence at all.
There's no evidence of him ever graduating from there.
Yeah.
He's never contributed scientifically to any respect as far as like any leading like for him to be one of the leading physicists on jet propulsion, he's never actually made a meaningful claim in
Bill
that
Nye
field.
has done more.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, now to say he's not an advanced chemist, looking at his track record of his wives.
Yeah. He's good at poison.
Right. But no,
allegedly.
I mean, in his high school records put him in the bottom third of his class.
Oh, he dumb.
And he went. After he went to like a community college, and he only took chemistry courses.
Ooh.
Mm-mm.
And what do you need to make poison, Jillian?
Chemistry classes.
Exactly, dog.
No, but I'm telling you right now, I've got some really good information. I have the documents, as Alex Jones would say.
So as
we've
we
got video footage
in this podcast, Bob Lazar didn't work in
work
no
at Area
UFOs,
51.
but
No.
he definitely murdered his wife. And
he definitely slayed mad amounts of pussy.
Allegedly.
Definitely, allegedly,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'm excited. I can't wait for this. You're
Oh,
gonna
dude,
have
it's
to get
gonna be
on
good.
it.
Listen, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/eatyourmushrooms.
Eat your mushrooms.
My most recent video is this little Back to the Future project I did. Nick thinks it's kind of
It's
funny.
phenomenal. It's so
but
good.
aside from that, I'm working on the Bob Lazar documentary, and I would hope to have it out before Christmas. And I know that's like a ways away, but I
the
work
work,
during the
dog.
summer, and
Fuck
I'm
it.
like I know that I'm still like I've got all my video footage on my hard drive. I need to like actually get out Final Cut and like
Gotcha.
do some shit.
You're
but
in the
I
final
will.
stretch.
And it's, I mean, the problem is the footage is very compelling, but it's long. So it's still going to be like a 45-minute video between my commentary and like, you ever watch JCS?
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
Jim can't swim.
No. I mean, that might be, I've never heard of that, but
He does the stuff on criminals when they're getting interviewed by the
Okay,
police.
yeah, you're right. Yeah. JCS, Bob Lazar,
Yeah.
in his interviews. That's my little hot take. But I unfortunately, the information about his wives, just a little disclaimer, and I know, of course, at the end of the video, it should have been at the beginning. It's very sparse, so I could even be propagating bullshit and not know it.
You're just
As
going
far
off
as-
what you find.
Well, as far as I know, that's what's actionable, and I will include the source from that. I have source video of that I'll include from another documentary I kind of stole it from, but I still find it compelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, fuck it.
I'm
we
pumped.
gotta get this motherfucker at least off the fucking world saying that he worked at our Area 51 when he damn well didn't. It's un-American to lie about working at Area
Especially
51.
about aliens. We take special offense to that. We take special offense to that.
We take special offense to faking Area 51 clearance.
Yeah.
I'm so angry. Yeah.
Speaking of, hey, Biden, if you want to give me Area 51 clearance, that'd be dope. I'll vlog it.
Yo, Joe Biden,
Yo, Joe Biden.
I love you.
Yeah. Joe Biden's cool, I guess. I mean, he's doing some fucked up shit right now, but it's
I
what.
like Joe Biden. I don't care what anybody else says.
He be bombing poor people, dog.
Fuck him. I'm just kidding.
Fuck 'em.
No, that's fucked up. No. I mean, listen, nobody's perfect. I think that he's a useful person right now. I would almost say a useful idiot, but I don't like disrespecting him because I do find him more educated than the last unuseful idiot we had in the office.
And that's where we're going to sign off. Fuck
Yeah.
Trump.
Fuck
Biden.
Donald Trump.
Do better.
If you buy the big lie, the big steal, you're just hopeless.
Yeah. Keep believing in those Bob Lazar fairy tales, dude.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
It was
super
wild.
awesome.
I'm sorry
You'll be
I
back.
rambled.
It's
It was
great.
good.
It's off. It's fine. 100%.
Let's
Everything
have-
was lit.
We're gonna have dinner soon.
Yeah.
Or
Business
lunch.
clam dinner.
Business
dude.
clam chowder dinner, bitch.
All right. Bye. Bye-bye.